Good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning and I'm out in the shop. My goal today is to design a cap for that bespoke desk pen. So let's see what happens. I am working on turning my latest desk pen. This one is going to have a cap. So stay tuned to see what she looks like. Working on a section to fit this blank. I actually damaged my section, broke the tenon off. So I built a new one, and I've just got to finish the end of the nib to see if I can get it to squarely fit this body. And if not, well, we'll have to make another body. Here's my desk pen. Had a couple of little problems along the way, but we just solved them and remade parts when we needed to. You'll notice the threads right here. That is making this ready to accept a cap. So next up, I'm going to figure out how to build a cap for this. And once again, this is the bespoke on a budget, so this is made with limited tools. I do want to be forthcoming and say that I had to cheat and I had to use this for my M13-1 die. The reason why is, and that was the threads on the body, I do not have a die holder that will accept a die quite that large. I mean, that's a big die. I need to look online and buy one, a handheld die holder for that. I thought I had one because it looked like it had a ring around there where it could accept this, and you could remove the inner ring to accept a larger die, but it turned out that was just an impression in the mold. So if I have one, I don't know where it's at. I'm gonna have to get online and buy one, but they're pretty cheap, so you still can do this on a budget. And really, you wouldn't need that unless you were going to step up and try to start building caps. So it's not a necessity. I had this body blank that I was making. This was the first one I started making today, and I didn't finish it because I messed up the section. And the new section that I got, or that I made, this was a little deep for the refill because I always measure and drill for the refill independently. So each one of these is unique. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this tenon off, and then I'm going to re-drill this for a cap for the pen. And I'm hoping to be able to save this blank and turn it into a cap. And here it is. I am super happy with this pen. This is a bespoke pen that I made out of 2 blanks with limited tools. Uses a Schmidt refill. It's very comfortable to write with. And it's just nice to know that you can make a beautiful pen without breaking the bank. Well, that was a heck of a day. It turned out great. I had the idea yesterday and just was kind of thinking about it overnight. Put it all together today. It did work. Worked well. It actually worked twice because I made 2 and I broke the first one. So I got my notes. What needs to happen now is just like with the section in the body, I need to come back and make another from start to finish and dial my notes in, tune them up, right? I'm really happy with how that turned out. I couldn't be happier. Like I said, I just needed to prove that it could be done. And I think I proved it, and I'm super excited about it. And I cannot wait to teach people how to make these because it is a blast. I think next up, like I said, I am going to work on redoing the cap, and the body to make everything work well. But I think next up, I'm going to work on some mandrels. You can do this, and I'm going to teach people to do it with mandrels made from other acrylic blanks, and they work great. What I found is when you turn the mandrel, it's perfectly square and everything works great. When you remove it and put it back into the chuck, if the diameter of the mandrel, like on my metal lathe, I can make it the perfect diameter from end to end. But if the diameter fluctuates a little bit, when it grabs it, it's going to grab it differently, and it can cause the slightest bit of vibration when you go back to use it a second time. It's not really noticeable. The only time it was noticeable was on the section because the section's short. With the longer blank, like the body blank, I was able to, taper that out and sand it away, and it wasn't a big deal. It was so minute. It wasn't a big deal. So it's a great way to learn how to do these type of pens and to decide, yes, I'm interested in this and I want to buy or buy or make quality mandrels. I want to buy or make all the tools needed to do it. Man, I'm just stoked that this worked and that it now makes this type of pen making available to so many people who previously were avoiding it just because it was so expensive. Because I'll tell you, when I took a class in bespoke making, I took it, oh my gosh, I forget the year. It's been several years back, and had great teachers. Jonathan Vest and Jim Hines were my instructors, and I can't say enough good about them. They were fantastic. And while we're taking the class, they had all their tools there, and I was making a list of everything that we use. The tap and die holder, and just all the special taps, all the special dies, all the drill bits, because I wanted to do it just like those guys did. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what you should want to do. You should want to take your skill to the next level. But what should have happened is I should have been able to step into it. I think I spent $750 when I got home to buy all of those parts and all those pieces. I sourced everything, and it was around $750. Well, the average guy turning in his shop is probably not going to spend that kind of money to be able to turn this style pen. So he's not going to consider it. But if I can show you how to turn this, and I need to total it up, and I'm going to say 200, 225 maybe, and you may already have, and that's because you got to buy a $150 chuck, a Jacobs chuck, which is $40, and a Live Center, which is probably $30. You may already have some of those tools, so that number goes down, and I put this in your hands for a much more reasonable cost. What are you going to do? You're probably going to try it. Why not? And then if you like it later on, you can say, well, I'd like to maybe invest in the really nice taps and dies, or I'd like to get, maybe a tap and die holder. And you can start one at a time picking up those pieces. And then your skill level, it just increases every time and you get better and better. Where I'm at now with making the bespoke is I have my basic pen figured out. Now you start developing different styles of pens. You start adding caps, you start adding clips, different roll stops. I need to work on things like that. But what I really need to work on, and this is boring as heck, but sanding and finishing. Because when you go and you take a look at somebody who likes this style pen, and there are a lot of people who like custom made pens, trust me, they're going to pick it up and they're going to look at it under the light and they're going to look for every scratch, every flaw. You've got to get your finishing. That's the trick. If you can get your finishing down to an art where that pen looks gorgeous, that's when you really have something. That's what's important. And for me, that's going to be a huge part of what I'm going to start practicing, because I want to turn more of the style pen. But yeah, if I can get it in your hands for a couple of $100, you're liable to try it. But if it's $700 or $800, you're going to tell me to go pound sand. So I'm sorry, I'm up on a soapbox. I'm going to get off and let you guys think about it. I got a lot of work to do here, but there's going to be some good stuff coming out of this, so stay tuned. And just got done facing off this little piece of aluminum. It's about a little over half of an inch long. And what we're going to do is this right here, there's a handle that usually goes here that lets me lock this down. It lets my motor raise and lower for tightening and loosening the belt. And what I'm going to do is just put that piece of aluminum, I'm going to face off both ends, drill it out, and we'll just put it on there as a way to, the problem is the belt on my lathe is the wrong belt, and you can see my motor is all the way down, but I need some way to keep the motor from vibrating, and I had been using a washer, but if I put a spacer on there, that will do the same thing. So that's what I'm gonna do today. Well, guys, that's about it for me. I've had a great day in the shop today. I did a little fix to my personal lathe, and I got a chance to use my metal lathe to do it. I made a bushing for it, and after I made the bushing, ended up not needing it. But that's okay. I got some time on the metal lathe. I'm seriously thinking about investing in a new metal lathe. The one I have is an old lathe. I think it's from the 40s, 50s, and it really is in need of being gone through and being refurbished. It's a heck of a lathe. It's an old Atlas lathe. It's a great lathe. But I need one, I need a little newer lathe, I think. One that, this one is super mechanical. I mean, you have to make all kinds of adjustments to use it. I want one that's a little simpler to use, that I can use for making my pens and use for making bushings and mandrels and the things that I need. And that one is a great lathe, but I think what I'm going to do is start researching, try to find one. I don't know if I can find a small metal lathe for a good price or not. But if I can, I may let that one go and buy me another one. So I'll keep you guys posted on what I decide to do there. I mean, worst case scenario, I can just keep using that one because it does work. But I'm finished for the night. Y'all have a great evening. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I'll try to get back. And remember, tomorrow night is the blank sale, 6 p.m. Central Time. The video will drop, and I've got well over 100 blanks that are still available. And if you need some blanks, they're clearanced. All blanks are $10 a piece. Shipping is $5 in the continental United States. And let me know if you find something there you need. I'll be glad to send it your way. Take care. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.